Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm Paul Jasson, your host. Thank you for joining us as we socially distance downtown lobby of Fairfield Federal. Signs all over here. They're celebrating their Quasqua Centennial, 125 years of being a great friend and benefactor to Lancaster and Fairfield County. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. We've got a good show to start out here today. It's always fun to have Fran Tiburzio. Fran is Marketing Director for Visit Fairfield County. Fran, welcome.
Thank you.
I didn't know if there is a Visit Fairfield County. Does anybody visit Fairfield County now during these times?
Well, you'd be surprised.
Yes. I probably would.
People do visit Fairfield County still. Like we're having all these softball and baseball tournaments every weekend now, where there's 50
Went by,
teams.
I think it's Martin's Park. It's out there on Lincoln Avenue. And I was coming off Cedar Hill Road, and there were cars parked over there. And I was told my wife, I said, those cars have to do with the softball tournament. So we end up going around the corner and coming in on Lincoln Avenue. Holy moly, everything was packed. And then this past weekend down at Miller Park, they were packed down there. I think that was kids, not girls necessarily, but young people. But boy, softball is booming here in Lancaster and Fairfield County.
It is, and of course, we have some great ball fields. And
sure.
So we've got visitors, if for nothing else. We've got tons of visitors coming in for that.
Well, we think back to March, and everybody I have on, I talk about this. Everybody that I've had on for the past 2 or 3 weeks now, it's been all about the virus, how it's affected their business. Talked with Al Beavers last week about how it's affected their field out there. And your organization, Visit Fairfield County, is no different. It's been a hit on you. But I think back, and I was just mentioning it to Dave Smith last week, that when the governor canceled the Arnold Classic, that was the first indication to me is this thing is big.
Yeah, that's
that
when people
is
went,
the
whoa.
event in Franklin County, and if he could cancel that, then everything's off the table. Nothing. And now here we are months later, and things are still canceled or postponed. I don't know how early your Visit Fairfield County figured this out, but probably pretty early on it was going to be a different summer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it didn't take long to figure out that. Our whole world was going to turn upside down, but that's okay.
No.
What are you going to do?
Well, and again, I think in many cases, what we're seeing is things are just. Well, we just had Dave Smith on last week, and we talked about that. You look at it differently. You're forced to maybe not think of it like you've always had. And maybe in some cases, that's good.
Absolutely.
You've been forced to look at things differently, to plan differently, to schedule different events. And so this summer, it isn't the summer you planned, but it's still summer, and you've still got stuff going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. We like to think of it in a positive way. It's made us work a little bit harder, think a little bit more about
outside the box a little bit.
Exactly.
Sure.
And our partners around the county have also had to do that. So we're still trying to serve all of our tourism partners around the county and make Fairfield County still look like a fun place.
Now, we think of all the things that won't be going on. We know that. We know the Lancaster Festival, of course, is the big one that's gone. The Corvette Show. We think of things. The July 4th has taken a radically different look. I think we're still not sure as we get to the fair. I think at this point, the fair looks like it'll be going on. It's going to be different, though. Right. It won't look like the Fairfield County Fair that we've always attended for 100 years. So things will be different. So I imagine in your world, you've seen a lot of things canceled, but a lot of things rescheduled late in the summer?
Sure, yeah. Like Friday Night Bandstand, they had to cancel the first few weeks
June
of
was
that.
Gone.
Yeah, June was gone.
Yeah.
But, they're back, and they're going to keep going, and, it'll go a little bit later in the season instead of starting earlier in the season. It is what it is.
Got your very cool book here. Put it up there where Shane can get a shot of that. Very cool looking book. It's got a couple errors in it as I think about now. Some of the dates may be, I'm not sure. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But things are different. And so here we are, late June, things moving into summertime now. And but you still got a lot going on here that people can still get this book and still find things to do in Lancaster and surrounding areas in Fairfield County.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the sections of our destination guide, and one of the reasons that people visit Fairfield County is because of all the outdoor activities that we have and the beautiful parks and nature preserves that we have, none of that's changed.
Yeah.
We still have 8,000 plus acres of green space in Fairfield County that you can appreciate, and bird watching and hiking and biking and all that good stuff. It's still going on. You can still do all that. And then now, as things are gradually reopening, hey, you can go and go to jump in the little kids' trampoline place, and you can do things now. Things are reopening. We're all going to come back.
I noticed too that you talked about going out to the park. So we go through the parks about every Sunday. We're out for a drive or something. The park, and I guess I'm speaking pretty much of Rising Park, it is packed.
Oh my gosh,
it is absolutely packed now. They got this little frisbee thing going on out there, a little league. It looks like in the flats out there beside the tennis courts. There's always something going on there. But then there must be people up on the mountain fishing, going around the park. I mean, you see people, again, they're looking at things a little bit different, like we can't do this, but what can we do? And they're finding those things.
Right, exactly. And we have plenty of those things for people to do. So, you just have to be a little bit more resourceful.
So what's going on in your world that people can look forward to now as we move into July and into the summer?
Well, we do have some events that are rescheduled, but also we've created some new ones because we've decided to sort of shift our focus from trying to bring visitors in from outside the county and instead serve the people who live here in the county. So we're trying to show them how to be a tourist in their own backyard.
Yeah.
And we've developed a series of tours, different town tours to go to Amanda, Lithopolis, Buckeye Lake, Pickerington, all over the county where people don't really think, oh, I could do something new and different and fun in
Sure.
that, town. People don't think that way. But we've hooked it up so you can. And we've come up with some great ideas.
Now, when I came in today, right behind us here, we're, of course, Fairfield Federal downtown. Right behind us is the bandstand. But I was noticing the big trolley they have there, and I know I'm not going to get this right. Glass Town Trolley Tour. You got that trolley up. They had a nice article in the paper on it. This is a very cool thing that's going on here that people can get involved with.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks to the Fun Bus for donating the trolleys. People can take a free ride on a trolley.
It's free.
Yes, and take a guided tour of different cool historic sites around the city. So we started thinking, what are cool things that people, you drive past it every day, but
Sure.
What would you like to know?
Sure.
Isn't there something that you don't know about the city? And yeah, we found all sorts of cool things. So we take people, we start right there at the square at Georgian Museum and travel up. We go through Square 13 a little bit. We go over by St. Mary's. We go past the Masonic Lodge. We just talk about different things. We come down and look at the mill and talk about the history of that building and the history of transportation and Lancaster.
Now, and this is a tour that your driver or somebody will be speaking while you will. And Fran was really involved in this, and kind of once the idea came out, they knew somebody to go to that would get this done, and Fran is the one. So you're like the guided tour.
Yes, and Jeremy from the Fun Bus. Yeah,
Okay.
We sort of split the duties. Fun Bus and Visit Fairfield County has really worked hard
Now,
to make this happen.
where is that schedule found as to how and what communities it'll be in, what times?
Well, the Glasstown Trolley Tour is only in Lancaster.
Okay.
And I think we've decided to do that once a week at least, but it's like for a full day, like on Saturday or on Friday or whatever day of the week. It's going to be
So how
several.
long does it last? If you do
the
the one
tour?
in Lancaster, yes.
It's about 45 minutes.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And then you just come back and redo it again. People.
If you want to.
Does it? Oh, it starts over by the Georgian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. You have to register in advance
Sure.
because Fun Bus is very serious about safety first. You must wear a mask.
Sure.
If you don't have one, they will provide one for you.
Yeah.
Every surface is sanitized between tours. They have two different trolleys that run, so they can be cleaning one while this one's out doing the tour.
And probably not every seat could be filled. There
Right.
probably
They
are
have-
rules. They only
Oh,
can get so
absolutely.
many in every one.
8 people.
8 people.
8 people on a trolley. That's why you have to make
Sure.
reservations.
And where do you do that?
Online on our Facebook page, you can do it. Visit Fairfield County, Ohio. It's really easy. Eventbrite also. It's super easy to do. We don't want to make it hard. We want people to be able to do it, but you have to understand that it's free, but you have to get a ticket.
Now, and again, you think outside the box, you see things canceled, things are not always like they were, things change, but you come up with other ideas for events. And here, I know you want to give a big shout out to the Fun Bus for being good partners in this community, to saying there was a need and they stepped up.
They absolutely did, yeah. And Fun Bus is a great organization to work with. We've done a lot of tours with them. Whenever we do the Covered Bridge tours in the spring and the fall, that's where we get our motor coaches that we ride through the county. And Fun Bus has been very, very good to us. So
if we get your book here, your little destination guide, and now we're again late into June, moving into really the summertime of the year. Kids weren't in school, but they're out, so there'll be plenty of kids out. Are there still lots of things in there that are scheduled, that are still going on?
Yeah, there are lots of things that are still going on, and not everything has been canceled yet. People are waiting to see, will we be able to hold this event? And there's a couple events that we do that we haven't canceled them yet. We're waiting.
When was that? I know in the last couple of years, this Wand Magic
Wands and
Wizards
weekend.
What a huge thing that turned out to be. Is that in the fall?
It's actually the first weekend of August, I believe.
Still on, or?
It's not been officially canceled yet. We rely so heavily on the library, though. We're kind of wondering whether we'll be able to do that.
They're getting open in small steps.
Right, and always in the past, the library has hosted these classes and workshops and events where there were 400 people in a room. Oh, we're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, we had Becky Shade on a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking to her about that. And it's just, as it is for the library, it's just kind of baby steps as we get back into this and do that. So now we head into the fall. We know the festival's gone. Again, we'll see the fair. At some point, I guess things will open back up, and then things will, whatever the new normal is. That's a new word I never knew I knew.
You do,
the new normal. I know the new normal. So at some point things will get back, and I guess just keep checking your book online. Visit fairfieldcounty.org.
You got it. Very, very good.
At your website, and it's a good place to look at. I'd encourage them to get looking at that trolley too. That just looks like a very neat. I think I will take advantage of that. That looks a very, very fun time.
It's very fun. And I've had a lot of people, whenever I'm leading the tours, I always say, is there anyone here who's not from Lancaster? It's always everyone's from Lancaster. And people will say, well, I already know all this stuff. Well, without fail, they all get, wow, I learned something today. It's like, that's the idea.
And it's like most places. I mean, many people don't. You mentioned the Masonic Temple up there. A lot of people don't even realize probably that still exists up there.
I know.
Because it was your dad's or your grandfather was a Mason or something like that. But then, talk about the Sherman House here. There's probably not much you don't talk about, but I bet everybody learns something on your tour.
That's the name of the game.
Take you a while to write that and come up with all these ideas?
Yeah. I have to thank Fairfield County Heritage Association. Mary Lawrence was just instrumental in helping me, when I said, I need something really interesting about this thing.
And if you talk about Fairfield County, that people do know everything about Fairfield County, it's the Heritage Association. They do it. Fran Tiburzio, marketing director with Visit Fairfield County. So I would just say visit fairfieldcounty.org. Get on there. Lots of information there. You have a phone number they can call you?
Sure. It's 740-654-5929.
And go on their Facebook page. They have lots of information there. Fran, have a fun summer. It's a different summer, but we know it'll be exciting. Looking forward to everything that you guys are in. We'll talk to you a little bit later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fran Tiburzio with us. We'll be back with more on Fairfield Today in just a moment.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
It's a hometown bank. It's located here in Fairfield County. Branches are convenient. They're located here in Pickerington, where my office is. I'm in Lancaster a lot, and they have plenty of branches there. And I much prefer dealing with the hometown banks rather than the larger nationwide chain banks.
so far everybody's been so personable, and for us to bank with the local bank, and we bank in Lancaster, it's been so wonderful because we'll call somebody, Steve will call somebody, and they'll get back to us right away, or they'll say, okay, we're going to make a decision in the basement tomorrow, and they'll get back to us, rather than calling a bigger bank where we had to wait and we didn't always get the same person the next time we called for a investment banking opportunity, or getting something appraised, any of those kind of things.
Everybody is very customer friendly. A lot of times I'll bring my dog Bear with me, and the staff love him here, and of course he loves them and the treats that he gets. So it's just a nice kind of a family type environment.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today. Again, Fairfield Federal celebrating their Quasca Centennial. I'd encourage you to go to fairfieldfederal.com. They've got all the information on lots of things they have celebrating, events and things they do. One of the big things is their charity event, community awards they're giving away. I think it's $12,500 and to one event, and they list about 10 charities that you can list there, and they have them in order, and you could vote for those folks. And I'd encourage you to go to fairfieldfederal.com, look at those. Lots of information there, obviously, about the bank, their hours, the lobbies are open now, people are allowed back in, but they've got all that information on there, where their ATMs are located. And again, all the information you want to know if you're interested in personal banking and business banking, anything you want to know. Electronic banking is a big deal anymore. Of course, they're involved in that. You can do so many things at your home. All that information is right there at their website. So I'd encourage you to go there. Just get an update on anything you need to know about the events that Fairfield Federal has. Their website is fairfieldfederal.com. Well, we're back talking events in the local community, and like everything else, things have changed. They're not like they were 3 months ago, 6 months ago, certainly last year. And one of the events we all like to talk about is the Hank Kabel Fun Run out at the Lancaster Fairgrounds. We've got Amy Carpenter with us, and Hank. Hank is with us today. We always enjoy having Hank here.
Thanks for having us, Paul.
Sure. Thank you, Amy, for being here. And we always enjoy talking about, right now we're talking about the big event you'd have coming up here in a couple of weeks, the 5th year of this, of the big fun run and walk with the sarcoma and everything. You'll tell us about that in a moment. But things are a little different this year. Things aren't like they used to be, and you've had to make some adjustments.
Yes. So it's been kind of frustrating because this is the 5th year of our race. And with the coronavirus and everything happening, I called our race company and I said, so what should we do? Do everything correct? And he said, we have not done one race this year. And they're a race company. And I was like, oh, okay, so how can we still do this and find a happy medium? And everyone else was doing virtual races, and so that's what we decided to do. Yeah, which will be good because basically any time in the month of July, from July 1st to the 31st, people can sign up and walk run on their own. And so they'll still be able to...
Even if you just want to go up to the end of your driveway?
Exactly, whatever you can do.
Sure.
And we're actually having a follow-up event the day the race would have been at my house.
Now, is that July 11?
July 11th,
okay.
Because one of the big things that we have at the race, it's like kind of like a fest is what we call it, is people love our raffle baskets. And so we have a lot of items people have donated, and we put them into raffle baskets, and that's one of our big money makers to go along with the race. And people love those every year. And if you've been to the fairgrounds during fair time, they have that part under the grandstand where all the noodles and everything are, and we try to fill that whole thing up with raffle baskets.
Sure.
And so I was like, well, how can we still do that? And we talked about doing stuff online and everything, but we decided to just, the day that the race would have been, we'll have that kind of like we do our yard sales, but we'll have the raffle baskets so people can still come out. And instead of bidding like we've done in the past, people can actually just buy the raffle baskets on the spot.
Talking with Amy Carpenter and Hank Kabel right here, and of course they have the big event going. normally
Yeah.
going on at the fairgrounds. Of course, things are different this year. This would be the 5th year. And what's the official title?
It's called the 2020 Hank Kabel Sarcoma 5K Walk Run.
Okay, and I think it's worth revisiting this sarcoma issue, because that's really how this got started with you and your puppy Hank, and give us a sketch on how this all began.
Yeah, so basically in 2013, well, actually it started in 2012. So Hank was like my nephew. He was my sister's dog. He lived with my parents, and I loved to stop and walk with him. We loved our walks, and we were walking, and he lifted his leg to potty, and nothing came out. And I remember thinking, something's wrong. That's not normal. At least I didn't think it was. But as we kept walking, he did go to the bathroom. So I thought, well, I dismissed it. I was like, he'd just been in for his wellness check in August, and this was November. And I was like, they just gave him a clean
What
bill
could
of
be
health.
wrong?
Right. What could be wrong in that amount of short time? And so that was November, and February 1st, my mom called me, and I used to be a teacher, and I had the day off school for a snow day. And she said, Hank's not eating his treats. Something's wrong. I'm taking him to the vet. And I got nervous and, turned cold and, right on the spot, because my parents weren't like one to rush the dog to the vet. He was a farm dog, protected
They
the
think
house.
something.
Yeah. So we went, took him in, and we thought they'd just say he had a bladder infection or something small like that. And they said, no, he has a tumor the size of a grapefruit, and it's sarcoma.
Wow.
And I was devastated. Number one, I didn't know dogs got cancer. I found through my research that
You hear more in cats. I think I've always heard it in cats. I don't know if I'd ever heard it in a dog.
Well, and it is in cats too. Yeah, it's actually more prone though in dogs.
Really?
Yeah, and so 1 in 3 dogs get cancer, just like women. 1 in 3 women get cancer, 1 in 2 men. And then I was like, what is sarcoma? I'd never heard of that. And it's a rare cancer of the connective tissue. So for Hank, it was in his pelvic canal, it was in his soft tissue. But it can also occur in your bone, which is called osteosarcoma. So if you've ever seen like the St. Jude commercials where a child's walking without a limb, that's osteosarcoma. Okay. So it's in the bone. And one of the neat things that we do every year is we do a calendar. And so for 2021, I decided to partner with Lancaster City Schools.
Very nice.
Because dogs get sarcoma the most. They get it 5 times more than people, but the second most common is children.
Oh.
And so I'd really wanted to get that word out, because I've heard people say, oh, my child has growing pains, different things like that.
Sure.
You just dismiss things thinking, oh, it'll go away, but then it doesn't. And with sarcoma, you really need to catch it early to make a difference.
So now, normally, again, we'd be talking about your big event. I've seen on the fairgrounds, you still have your nice signs up on the fence at the fairgrounds. You go around, you can see Hank, and they've got all the information on it, when it'll be. But now, things are different this year, and you explain some of that. It's virtual, so how will this happen?
Yeah, so you can just get online at the www.thehankkabelsarcomafoundation.com and sign up and register, and then you just walk anytime you want during the month of July. July is actually Sarcoma Awareness Month, and so anytime from July 1st to the 31st, you can walk, you can run,
Okay.
you can do it anywhere you want, and that way you're still participating, you're still donating the money. And a couple people have already started sharing their stories with me.
Yeah, tell us. Give
Yeah,
us one
and
of
it's
those.
just been, I actually was I write for the Town Crier, and one of my articles is called Dear Hank, and I actually just turned in my article Friday, and I was in tears writing it, because there were 2 really special stories. The one is my friend Connie, and she's lost 2 dogs to cancer back to back, like within a matter of months. And it started out in the dog's eye. The dog just had a red eye. They thought maybe a stick scratched it when it was playing in the backyard, and here he had cancer in his eye. And then the other one, she right after that found a lump on the other dog's side, and she said her and her husband were oblivious or maybe in denial, because they were like, this couldn't be happening again. We just lost one dog
Not
to this.
2 in a row.
Right. And so that's one story. So, you can walk for your fur babies, but another reason you can walk is for your loved ones that's had cancer, whether it be sarcoma or whether it be breast cancer or another kind of cancer. It's all the same. We're all fighting the same battle. You know what I mean? Whether it's one cancer or the other. And so this other friend I met at a sarcoma walk that we did, and I did in honor of Hank, and she did in honor of her daughter. But she lost her daughter to osteosarcoma, and it's been years ago, but she said when they started doing research, all the research they found was mostly on dogs, because dogs are the ones that usually get sarcoma the most. And so when a lot of people like have a pain or a swelling or something like that, they don't realize it's sarcoma because it's, again, usually in dogs and usually in children. So if you get it as an adult, a lot of times doctors misdiagnose because they think, oh, that's a childhood cancer. They probably don't have that. And so she shared her story about her daughter and the dog that her daughter had them buy right before she passed away to help them get through the grieving process of losing her. And it was just very emotional writing that. So I just love, that's one of the good things about having a virtual race that I'm excited about, is that I'm hoping people will email me and Facebook me their stories, because I would love to share, why are you walking? Is it a fur baby you lost? Is it a human that you lost? Is it maybe a cancer survivor that you want to honor? But things like that, trying to turn this negative that we're going through into a positive right now.
And so a lot of this information you have on your Facebook page?
Yeah, so it's on the Hank Kabel Sarcoma Foundation Facebook page, and also on our website, the HankKabelSarcomaFoundation.com.
And you talked a little bit earlier, now these baskets will be available out at your place.
Yes, yeah. And that's in Hunter Trace at 1108 Coventry Circle here in Lancaster. And that will be on July 11th from 9 to noon. And in the past at the fairgrounds, we've always had people bid on the baskets, like an auction.
Sure.
But this year, people can actually just buy them on the spot. And if people aren't very technical and they don't want to get online and register, we'll have paper forms available there if they just want to register and give their money.
Sure.
And they could walk around my neighborhood or go home and walk. It's all about just doing it, for a good cause. So whether people want to do it online or sign up in person, they can do that. And we also have a whole bunch of yard sales coming up this summer. It's the last Saturday of each month at that same location, 1108 Coventry Circle. That's one of our big money makers that we do every year, and people donate their items. And
I was going to say, that's what you have out there.
Yeah, a lot of people have been doing a lot of spring cleaning during this coronavirus. I know I have. And so a lot of people go to Goodwill or donate different places, but they can also donate to our charity, and we can give like a tax form, just like Goodwill and stuff does, for their donation.
So, you think back in March, and I'm sure when this started to break loose, and again, the event that seems to stick with me a little bit, I was talking to Fran Tiburzio before you talk about that, is when the governor canceled the Arnold Classic. I thought, this is really big.
I know, right?
There's something going on here.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't think it would had any idea. Here we are into the beginning of summer, July 4th, fall events have been canceled, your event. It's been different. But again, maybe it's an opportunity to think outside the box a little bit, and you've looked differently at it now, and maybe some of that will carry over.
Yeah, and I was really frustrated at first, and I was in limbo because I was like, what do? I want to do everything politically correct.
Well, we know the race is not going to happen.
Right, but it's like, how do you social distance and run a race, And so I think, like you said, the good out of this will be maybe by people sharing their stories. That'll be something that will kind of carry on to even when we do the regular race, because that's what we do each year right before the race during the ceremony, is like I try to share some stories. So maybe this will be one of the positive things from it, that we gain.
So Hank's race won't be at the fairgrounds this year. It's going to be virtual. You can find that information, and the website again is...
It's the www.thehankkabelsarcomafoundation.com.
Hank Kabel SarcomaFoundation.com. But I bet if you use on your search engine, you just put Hank Kabel in there, it'll come up.
Yeah.
Amy Carpenter, it's a different time now, and again, normally we have a nice calendar we can hold up right now. We talk about that. Things have changed this year. But then for next year, again, you're looking at is it the Lancaster City Schools? You mentioned that. Yeah,
our 2021 calendar is going to be with Lancaster City Schools.
And
They've been so wonderful.
And the reason for that is that children are second to pets in getting sarcoma.
Right, so dogs get sarcoma the most. They get it 5 times more than people, and the second most common is children. So I thought, why not partner with Lancaster City Schools and try to get the word out about that?
And Steve Wigton,
wonderful.
They've been on board with that.
Steve's been wonderful to work with. They have just been such a pleasure. And they're doing such great things in our community.
Oh, yeah. Well, by the time we have them on again, Ewing is open now. We'll get back to school in the fall, and at that time, Sherman is to be open. And then the only thing left is the high school, which will be 3 or 4 years, we hope, away, and that's going to open. So a good time to be with them. They certainly want to get their good word out.
And we're sharing those things in the calendar, and then the pictures this year in the calendar is going to be the teachers with their pets.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So again, it's different, but it'll be nice.
Yeah.
It'll be nice.
It'll
And
still
then
be good.
2021, come back roaring with a vengeance and bigger and better
Yes.
than ever.
Yes.
Good.
Hopefully a new normal. A good.
Yeah.
a good normal.
Amy Carpenter's been with us, and again with pleasure to have her and Hank here with us right now. So Hank's a good boy.
Yes.
And he started all this. He'd be very pleased at 5 years later where this has all gone
Thank you,
and
Paul.
keeping it still alive. So Amy, thank you for being
Thank
with
you.
us.
Thank you
Sure.
for having us.
Thank Amy for being with us, and we thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.